What do Hungarians think about gender roles? Are situationships as common in Hungary as in other Western countries? And where does Hungary stand when it comes to marriage stats? Today we're diving into the Hungarian dating world, something that you probably don't know much about because Hungary doesn't make a lot of headlines about this kind of stuff. In the last video we talked about how Hungarians don't like fake politeness. They tell you how it is and they expect the same from you. And yes, pessimistic is a word that typically pops up when discussing Hungarians, especially when it comes to the older generation. I mentioned the peaches and coconuts theory before, and Hungarians are as coconut as it can possibly get. You can definitely take some time to break through that coconut shell, and that's why a lot of foreigners complain about the difficulty of making friends in Hungary. But what is the dating scene like here? I asked locals and foreigners, and here's what they had to say. But first, please take a second to subscribe if you enjoy the cultural content that I produce, and onto the video. How has the dating been here?
Strange, honestly, very, very strange. I went out with some girls in those 1 year and a half. I remember, especially with one girl, after 2-3 weeks, she was like, what we are? What do you mean what we are? After 3 weeks, yeah, we are a couple, what you want to do with me? Like in 3 weeks, I barely understand your name and stuff like that. It takes time to me.
They want everything to be very fast. Like straight away, let's decide we are together or not. Like let's do this and that. Let's move in after 1 month. And I'm like, hey man, like just chill.
I don't think that situationships are so much in still.
She came during situation.
Honestly, if we start dating, we take it seriously. We don't really have this like dating multiple people at times. We don't really shop around for too long. I'm not saying like after one kiss, it's like you're already considered, but after like 4 or 5 dates, I would say that you kind of don't have to have this talk that what are we?
Let's talk about the boyfriend. He's Hungarian?
Yes.
Have you noticed any cultural differences?
For both of us, if you're dating someone, it means something. You don't have problem with situationships. You are taken seriously. To me, it was very important because sometimes in other country I felt a bit old-fashioned, with my standards and my approach. So here I felt more understood in this field.
Are people still looking to get married, to have kids, to have that really strong committed relationship?
Well, it really depends on the person, but I'd say generally speaking, not. The world is changing a lot. Everybody tries to live their dream, travel a lot, and meet new people, and the commitment to be with someone together, let's say forever, we are scared of that. My parents' generation was different.
In the UK, have you noticed any differences to that?
A lot. A lot. When you have Slavic standards, then it's quite hard to date out there.
So is it true that Hungarians actually place more value on commitment than other countries like Sweden or the UK? Well, according to a recent study done by Love Honey, the answers I got in Budapest are actually backed up by stats. Turns out for every 1,000 Hungarians, 6.7 get married and only 1.5 end up divorcing. Hungary sits alongside countries like Portugal, Slovenia, Germany, the Netherlands, and Iceland in commitment rates. Want to know which country ranks as the least committed? Let me know in the answers below and stay tuned until the end when I tell you what country that is. Have you gone out with Hungarian guys?
Yeah, and it's just like not my thing at all.
They kind of let loose after a while.
After 40?
30. They don't really care about how they dress. They just like okay with the dead bod, and there's this national thing like if you're a man in Hungary you need to be above 100 kilograms and you need to be eating meat with meat, drinking a lot of alcohol. Healthy lifestyle is not like the traditional man picture here in Hungary.
Is it hard now then dating here past the age of 30 because that's the kind of guys you see online?
Yeah.
They would text you a lot, they would be kind of active, but not as a man that I would like to see, but more this like overcare, like over texting, calling and stuff. Let's do this date and that. But like in the moment, they just listen to you and they like don't do any actions.
They're not flirtatious, so they're not.
Exactly. And also another thing, this sense of humor. I'm a very sarcastic person, and I think that's what I'm missing because I like hey, like that, and then they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, hey, yeah. You need to like laugh about something together.
Where are you guys from?
I'm from Hungary.
And I'm from Turkey.
And how long have you guys been together for?
for almost 2 years.
I really am so curious to find out about those cultural differences that you experience in your relationship.
In Turkey, we live in more like collectivist culture. Families are all together, etc. And I always talk to my family all the time.
Yeah, my family is very small and Turkish families are huge. So yeah, it was very a shock to me as well that even just for a small gathering, there is everyone there, or not even everyone, but just so many people. Many say that Hungarians, I mean, the mindset is a little bit between the Western and the, let's say, more collectivist one. Just as an example, maternity leave is very long in Hungary, 3 years. So that also shows, and also the government's policy is also favoring families in some sense. But we also have this independent mindset that I'm an individual, I don't want my parents to tell me what to do after a certain age, and people prefer to live alone after especially age 20-ish.
Us Hungarians, we have inside clothes. So as soon as we enter the apartment, we kind of get into a clothes that is between outside and pajamas. So if you want to break up with a Hungarian, you should just get in the bed in jeans, I think.
Gender roles. Have you noticed any differences with that when it comes to Italy versus Hungary?
Personally, yes. In Italy now we start to have more gender equality, I would say. Still is missing. It's not like in the northern country that male and female are the same level and stuff like that. Here I find that the gender role is still like the man has to do mostly manly stuff, the woman has to be mostly woman, I would say.
In Poland, men always open door for me, or if I have heavy luggage, I don't even have to ask for help. Here sometimes, oh my God, I have to open door for myself. When you go out for a date, you don't have a problem of who should pay the bill. I've been dating few guys and always they were paying for me.
I think here is pretty the same, that a man will pay for you when you go to the restaurant, and like a girl is kind of anticipating this all the time. I think flowers is still not a huge thing here, but yeah, back home in Russia, like it's totally normal like to come with a bouquet of flowers on the first date, on the second date. So
Does that still happen?
Yeah, I still see it, especially in a bit older people, like people above 40. They still really have it. So whenever I see a couple eating in a restaurant, it's normally the man who pays. For younger people, I think it's getting a bit more common as well that they split it, or they may not open the door. Deep inside, most women still value these things. I also personally find it very charming when someone opens the door or, let's say, pays for the dinner. So we still have this in mind, but also we have more of the mindset that since women are also working, and if they can also afford, then they are the ones paying next.
So, is Hungary really all about gender roles? Looking at the Gender Equality Index, Hungary ranks near the bottom in Europe, just above Romania and below the Czech Republic, with a score of only 57. This is far below countries like Italy, Portugal, and Greece, and nowhere close to the leaders like Sweden, the Netherlands, or Denmark. According to statistics on gender roles, Hungarian attitudes remain fairly traditional. 77% say a woman's primary role is caring for the family, and 40% say it's the woman's job. Do you feel like Hungarians have more kind of traditional values and that they want to start a family, they want to have kids still, or do you think it's going out of style?
Here I saw also from people that I know that they are very family oriented, like at 25 years old, oh, should be married, have a family, stuff like that. They ask me, when you're gonna have a baby? Me? In 10 years maybe, I'm too young yet. In Italy it's quite normal to have a family at 35, stuff like that. Here you are too old.
How old are you?
29, I turned 29 recently, so yeah,
Okay,
29.
so you're like, I have 10 more years for this.
Yes, 8-9 years, yes, at least. Not like for them I'm already old.
I would say most of my Hungarian friends, they already moved to the suburbs and have a house and have the 2.5 kids, and it is still, I think, the norm here.
Do you think open relationships are a thing here in Hungary?
I think more and more couples are agreeing on something like that, but normally I wouldn't say it's acceptable to most of the society.
Do you personally want a committed relationship?
Yeah, I would love that.
Of course, marriage is still important, but nowadays it's less common to get married and you just stay together. And we were just talking about this, that in Turkey, for some families, it's harder to introduce someone as, oh, here is my girlfriend or here's my partner. Yeah. You would introduce someone when it's getting really serious and you plan to marry someone. Versus in Hungary, your parents just ask you, oh, who are you dating with? Are you dating with someone? It's even sort of an encouragement to date with people after a certain age to experience.
Would you rather date someone from here, or would you still prefer to date a foreigner?
I would prefer a Hungarian, and I think it's because of the past, the roots that we have here, and also the sense of humor that comes out. I like the sense of humor that I have.
Sarcastic?
It's super sarcastic.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, we are sarcastic.
Because you don't focus so much on the positives. That's why you're able to make fun of the darker sides of life, right?
For sure, yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Even though Hungary is still fairly high up when it comes to marriages, it has recently seen a sharp drop when it comes to marriage rates, reversing the steady climb that has been happening during the 2010s. In 2023, the number of marriages plunged by 34.7%. This marks the lowest rate the country has seen in nearly a century. In 2019, Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orbán made a big push to encourage marriage and having kids, with a set of family-focused policies such as financial benefits, marriage loans, paid leave, and child support. But even with those incentives, marriage rates in Hungary are still dropping. So once again, we've got the same thing happening here. It looks like a lot of the Western world is moving away from long-term commitments, marriage, and unfortunately Hungary is moving the same way, just at its own slower pace. You can of course argue that people are free to choose any form of life they wish. My worry, however, is that the loneliness epidemic is quickly taken over, with people choosing a lot of times artificial connections over real human connections. And this is not where I wanted to take the video again, but it seems like it's a common theme that I'm ending my videos with these days, as it's really worrying to me and I'm sure to you as well. And in case you are wondering, the lowest country on that commitment list is Latvia. Tell me what you think about that. Why is Latvia on top of that list? Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you don't know yet, I have a podcast where I interview international creators, experts, and very interesting people on the subject of cultural differences and connections. So please make sure to check those out. I will see you next week with a new video, and as usual, keep breaking down your barriers.